Abu al-Hasan grew up in the city of Baghdad during the time of King Jafar. His father was very wealthy, and when he died, Abu al-Hasan inherited a lot of money. He divided it into two equal parts, saving half of his wealth and dedicating the other half to his pleasures and delights. Many companions gathered around him who pretended to show him love and sincerity. He spent half of his wealth on them in a short time. Then he pretended to them that he was poor, so they abandoned him and stopped visiting him. Abu al-Hasan went to his mother, weeping, and told her about the betrayal of his companions who had forsaken him because of his poverty. She told him, "They only kept your company for your money, and when they knew of your poverty, they abandoned you. Keep the other half of your wealth and benefit from this harsh lesson you have learned, my son." Abu al-Hasan swore that he would not return to the companionship of his old friends, and from that day on, he would only keep company with strangers whom he did not know. Furthermore, his companionship with anyone would not last for more than one night. He used to stand on the bridge at sunset, and if he saw a stranger approaching, he would invite him to his house, host him, and honor him all night long. When the morning came, he would bid him farewell and disown him, refusing to greet him ever again after that. He adhered to this plan for a whole year. One evening, Abu al-Hasan stood at the bridge, as was his custom, and saw King Jafar, who had gone out disguised as a merchant coming from Mosul, accompanied by his servant. Abu al-Hasan welcomed him and invited him to his house, after making him promise that he would stay with him for one night only and never meet him again after that. The king was astonished and asked him the reason for this, so Abu al-Hasan told him his entire story. His astonishment grew, and the king and his servant walked with him until they reached his house. The king was amazed by Abu al-Hasan's generosity and asked him, "Do you wish for anything, Abu al-Hasan?" He replied, "I wish to become a king even for one day, to punish 5 wicked people who live near my house, interfere in what does not concern them, and from whose evil no one is safe." The king laughed at his words and resolved to fulfill his wish. Then he distracted him and put a sleeping potion in his drink. No sooner did he drink it than he fell asleep. The king ordered his servant to carry Abu al-Hasan to his palace, place him on his bed, and dress him in his clothes. Then he commanded everyone in his palace to obey Abu al-Hasan in everything he ordered, after making him believe that he was the King Jafar. No sooner did dawn break than they woke him up from his sleep. Abu al-Hasan was astonished when he found himself in the king's bed, which was made of pure gold, with maidservants and servants around him respectfully calling out, "Good morning, O Commander of the Faithful." Abu al-Hasan thought he was dreaming, but when they proved to him that he was awake and that he was the king himself, his astonishment greatly increased. Then the vizier Jafar stood before him and said, "The council is complete, O Commander of the Faithful." Then he walked with him until he seated him on the king's throne, while Abu al-Hasan was confused and bewildered from the intensity of his shock. The king was watching him from a high window, filled with joy and happiness. As soon as Abu al-Hasan sat on the throne, he ordered the chief of police to severely punish those 5 wicked people, meaning to punish them harshly to make them an example for others. He also commanded him to give Abu al-Hasan's mother a bag containing 1,000 dinars. Shortly after, Abu al-Hasan went to another room where maidservants attended and kept playing the lute and singing the best songs. And he still did not know, was he awake or was he dreaming? When night came, they put the sleeping potion in his drink. No sooner did he drink it than he slept, and they carried him back to his house. When morning broke, and he saw himself sleeping on his own bed, he screamed from the intensity of shock and pain. His mother came to him and asked him the reason for his outcry. He said to her, "Am I not the commander of the faithful, King Jafar?" She said to him, "Are you mad, my son? You are Abu al-Hasan." He replied, "No, rather, I am the commander of the faithful." She tried to comfort him and restore his sanity, and she told him what punishment had befallen his enemies, and brought him the bag which the king had sent her yesterday, containing 1,000 dinars. Then he realized he had not been dreaming, and he said to his mother, "Now I am certain that I am the king, and I ordered the chief of police yesterday to beat those wicked people and send this bag to you." His mother tried to convince him that he was mistaken in his assumption, but his agitation and frenzy intensified. The neighbors came asking for news, and no sooner did they hear him say he was the king than they believed he had gone mad. So they carried him to the Bimaristan hospital, where he spent a month, and they did not release him until his sanity returned and he confirmed to them that he was Abu al-Hasan. Then Abu al-Hasan went out, as was his custom, to the bridge of Baghdad, and he met the king a second time, who was still in the guise of a merchant coming from Mosul, accompanied by his servant. Abu al-Hasan welcomed him and invited him to his house, after making him promise that he would stay with him for one night only and never meet him again after that. The king greeted him, but Abu al-Hasan did not return his greeting. The king continued to befriend him until Abu al-Hasan was pleased with him and invited him to his house. He confided in him what had happened to him, and the king was pained by what had befallen him. When it was time to sleep, the king put the sleeping potion in Abu al-Hasan's drink. The servant then carried him to the palace. The morning came and they woke him up. He found himself in the king's palace again, with maidservants around him greeting him. Abu al-Hasan became confused and was nearly driven mad from the shock, imagining that he was dreaming. Then the maidservant sang to him, approaching him with smiles, and the vizier Jafar came to greet him. Abu al-Hasan asked, "Who am I? Am I dreaming?" He was told, "You are the king, Jafar." Abu al-Hasan then said to one of the servants, "If I am awake, bite my ear so that I may be sure I am awake and confirm that I am not dreaming." The servant bit his ear, and Abu al-Hasan screamed from the intensity of the pain. He said, "Now I know that I am not asleep, and I am certain that I was not dreaming. Now I realize that I am the king Jafar." Abu al-Hasan remained amazed by what he saw in the king's palace, hesitating to believe what his eyes saw and his ears heard. Then he shouted at the top of his voice, nearly insane with joy, "There is no doubt that I am the commander of the faithful, and no doubt that I am not Abu al-Hasan." The king saw and heard all this, so he entered the room, nearly falling to the ground from the intensity of his laughter. Abu al-Hasan recognized him and realized the truth of his situation, and threw himself at his feet and kissed them. The king was delighted with him and embraced him, showered him with gifts and money, and took him as his boon companion from that day on.